There's no other time to be a Star Wars fan because we have a lot of things on the horizon. We got Star Wars Celebration coming this year and next year. We have a lot of Star Wars projects that will be announced when it comes to TV shows, movies, books, novels, comics, and video games, and a lot more to come as well. We have George, Jon, and Dave currently working on shows like Ahsoka, Andor, and other shows out there that will arrive this year and next year. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we have a lot of things happening at the same exact time right now. We have Hayden already beginning to train for his role as Anakin Skywalker for the Ahsoka Tano series, since he will be coming back as a Force Ghost, and in the form of flashbacks. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But we also have a lot of things happening with The Bad Batch Season 2. Now, there's still a lot of problems happening with that show, and that's exactly why we are not getting it by this spring, and it's looking even likely that we might not even see it by this summer, because this summer they want to focus on the Andor series. So it's very likely that we could very well be getting The Bad Batch in early fall, right before the Mandalorian Season 3 debuts, which Disney is planning to do right around the end of November to early December. So with that being said, what's really interesting about everything related to Jon Favreau, alright? This guy is working around the clock. He's making sure that Star Wars is going to thrive and survive and really go back down to the roots of George Lucas and his vision of the franchise and exactly what it stands for. That's exactly what they're trying to aim for. They really want to make sure that they're going to be able to get all of those lost fans that walked away from the franchise ever since the sequels were really disappointing to a lot of people out there, and also ever since the Gina Carano firing. They're trying to get those types of fans back into watching Star Wars again. So with that being said, however, what's even all the more intriguing is that given that Disney and Lucasfilm are now getting ready to begin filming the Ahsoka Tano TV series and begin development on The Mandalorian Season 4, creators Favreau and Dave Filoni are actively involved with multiple Star Wars TV shows that have yet to have been announced. Now, it's described that recently, however, Jon Favreau recently was able to reveal some pretty exciting things in a recent interview when talking about the Mandoverse. At one point in time, Favreau was questioned about resetting aspects of the Sequel Trilogy movies, to where he revealed himself, "Myself and Dave are doing wonderful things with different projects that cross different eras, and we really are going to be doing some wild things for the fans. We are now just beginning to work on the Ahsoka series, and one thing that I can say without revealing too much is that this series will, yes, have an impact on the Sequel Trilogy films in a very important way that I think many fans are not even going to expect." Now, let me just stop right here for 1 second of what Favreau is saying, is that he is obviously hinting at toward the leaks that we talked about for the past couple of months now about the world between worlds and how it's going to have a lot to do with portals and time travel, essentially. We'll get into that in just a couple of minutes in detail. But Jon Favreau is really trying to kind of steer clear from that question and is really trying to answer in a more polite way without revealing too much for the Ahsoka series. Now, moving on from that, he goes on to also reveal what Dave has in mind and what I have in mind. I can just make this promise to all the fans that we are doing something that is going to be earth-shattering, that will change how fans view the sequel movies and even other Star Wars installments out there. Again, I can't say too much about Ahsoka, but this series really is going to bring Star Wars to a whole different level that I would have never imagined have seen in live action. I'm glad that Disney gave us this opportunity to work with this show and do all these crazy things for fans. Now, the thing about Jon Favreau and what he's saying here also is that essentially what they are doing is that they're not only going to be changing the Sequel Trilogy movies, but that the world between worlds is also going to have a major impact on other trilogy movies, such as the prequels and the originals, and even other movies and installments, like he said. The thing about that has me a little worried is exactly how extensive are those changes going to be for the prequels and the originals in comparison to the changes that are being planned for the sequels. You know, we already went over a couple of those of what they have in what they actually have in stock and what they have planned for the original trilogy. We went over that of how The Andor celebration is going to be altered a little bit, where you will be able to see exactly how Darth Vader transfers to becoming Anakin again as a Force ghost and how that all occurs. But moving on from that, alright, separate from what Favreau revealed, this alludes to the big plans they have in store for using the world between worlds as a form of time travel to actually change certain events in the Skywalker saga. Alright, so this is where things begin to really pick up, is that a lot of things of what Jon and Dave are currently doing as we speak is that this is Jon and Dave's plan to make things easier by bringing in some stories from Star Wars Legends to work with the already existing Star Wars sequels, of course, by Disney. That's exactly why they're making all of these different changes in the world between worlds and allowing Ahsoka Tano to use the portals and actually using that ability, just as Ezra Bridger did, to change Ahsoka Tano's fate. A lot of characters' fates will be altered in the sequel trilogy, such as Rey, Luke, Ben Solo, and others out there. Moving on. Now, Favreau and Filoni are set to use revolutionary CGI technology for the World Between Worlds scenes that will be filmed during this summer. Many of those scenes are set to involve Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost, played by Hayden himself, again, in the Star Wars universe. Jon and Dave are said to be using this realm to also change many story elements of The Last Jedi that will be done by Ahsoka Tano. Now, creator George Lucas is the one who originally gave Jon and Dave the okay on doing this, and even pushed them to make this happen in the Ahsoka show, given that fans have never seen this realm in live-action form as of yet. And that's another thing to really keep in mind here, is that Jon and Dave are making sure that they are going to be keeping things as accurate as possible to Star Wars Rebels. Now, in Rebels, I don't know if you guys saw Season 4. If you guys are not into the animated stuff, I do suggest heavily that you at least check out that episode, The World Between Worlds. You can find it anywhere, or at least the clip of that actual moment in which Ezra Bridger goes into that realm and hears all the voices spanning the entire Skywalker saga. You hear Rey, you hear Yoda, you hear Kylo Ren, you hear all these characters from the span of Episode 1 to Episode 9, and that just goes to show you exactly how interconnected the Cosmic Force really is, and how they're going to really do that in the World Between Worlds in live-action form for the very first time in 2023. Now, some fans are going to view this as maybe pushing things too far. You know, I know that some fans out there don't want time travel getting thrown into Star Wars, but let's look at it like this. It's not the traditional time travel in a sense where it's like Back to the Future or the Terminator franchise. It's not necessarily like that. This is more like a realm that Ahsoka is going to be able to tap into, where she is able to open different points in time and actually is able to watch them as a spectator in a sense. So she's not really going back in time, but she's watching a moment in time in the past where she's able to kind of alter it in very minor ways or in very major ways. So it's a little bit of a twist of how Jon and Dave are doing time travel, and I kind of like that in a sense. So overall, guys, you know, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.